The series finale of Stranger Things is coming out for New Year's, so I wanted to have this video ready because I want to talk about portals in movies. I want to talk about portals in real life. I want to talk about hadron colliders. I want to talk about superhero movies. I want to talk about portals in video games. There's a whole video game series called Portal. I want to talk about Silent Hill series, movies and video games. I want to talk about Stephen King's The Mist. So there's a lot of stuff that's already in cinema where it's opening portals to other dimensions. If you want to get biblical about it, wait a minute, there's other dimensions and portals in the Bible? Yes, it's called realms. And every time you sleep, you go into another realm. And so where do I start first? Portals in movies. All your superhero movies, Marvel and DC, all the movies are tied together, and they're all about portals. They have Avengers Doomsday is coming up. That's about portals. James Gunn did Superman, still talking about portals and other dimensions. Stranger Things, that's what it's all about. You could take Stranger Things and Stephen King's The Mist, and it's basically the same storyline. Also, Twin Peaks Season 3 is about Zhao Day, and there's no stopping Zhao Day from being released. And they show in episode 8 of Twin Peaks The Return, Season 3, they show the atomic bomb blast, and that was opening a portal, and evil came through. And then that evil, which looked like a frog moth thing, climbs down the throat of Sarah Palmer. It looks similar to that little tadpole pollywog thing in Season 3 of Stranger Things, where the kid keeps it like a pet, and then it turns into a Demogorgon or whatever, and it's evil. And all the Avengers movies are about opening a portal and something came through. The CERN Hadron Collider in real life, there's multiple Hadron Colliders. It's not just the one in Switzerland that everyone thinks about and they call it CERN. What CERN has is a Hadron Collider that really like dug into a mountain, and the things like clung to the side of a mountain, which is interesting. There are multiple Hadron Colliders. There's in America, in Russia, in China, in Switzerland, and wherever else they have them. I think that they have to do with the Battle of Gog Magog in the Bible, where demons like sands of sea and like grains of sand in the ocean surround the camp of the saints. I think what they're doing with the Hadron Colliders is opening portals to the abyss, or they're trying to. Stranger Things is about the same thing. They're opening a portal to a dark realm. When you go to sleep at night, you go in the astral realm. People are involved in this, and they do a lot of stuff that's dangerous. They call it astral travel. They do lucid dreaming. People talk about sleep paralysis and night terrors and the shadow people. People have drug trips and they go into these other realms. And there's so many stories that people have blurring the boundaries between corporeal, which is material, flesh and blood, and immaterial, which is incorporeal. And that's what happens when you take psychedelic drugs. You blur the boundaries between worlds, between corporeal and incorporeal. You blur the boundaries between the astral realm and the physical world, which is a form of witchcraft or sorcery or conjuring. If you look into the MK Ultra experiments, they play with this stuff. They traumatized people. Some people volunteered for it, some people did not volunteer for it. And if you look into the truth of the MK Ultra experiments, you're gonna get some lies. There are stories about people in MK Ultra experiments, like with their thoughts creating monsters, and the monsters destroyed the base. No, really what they're doing is trying to blur boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, taking your sleep state and using it for spying, which is what they wanted to do in MK Ultra. So in Stranger Things, the little boy, Will, in the first Stranger Things, he gets abducted by the government and they do experiments on him. And they try to cover the whole thing up by saying that they found a body and it was his body. And then part of the mystery of the first season is finding out that the little boy was abducted by the government, experimented on, and he's done this astral travel. And Stranger Things makes it look like monsters and stuff, but it's demons. Demons are in other realms. Like when we sleep, I know it's pretty far out there, but when we sleep, when we dream, sometimes our dreams are influenced by, I would say, inferior beings that do not have material embodiment. You might want to call it demons, shadow peoples, the Hat Man, what else are the Benadryl Man, and all these. There's a couple different entities. People take DMT, they talk about the purple DMT woman, and people have similar trips, they go to similar places. There's this thing that the Zoomers, it's popularized among them. You know, it's like a fraction of people. It's not like most people know about this, but what do they call it? Well, it's like some kind of disassociative thing where they phase. What is it called? Anyway, it'll come to me. So when they traumatize people through the Monarch mind control, there's so many videos on this stuff and books written. So the Monarch mind control, it's the government. Like when you interrogate somebody and you break them down so that you can get answers, right? You drug them, maybe give them truth serum, whatever they call it, sodium pentothal, and then you get them to loosen up, and you deprive them of sleep. And depriving people of sleep because you're tired is one way, without drugs, to blur the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal. It's a way of breaking somebody down. It's a trick of interrogators, even at police level. Like, forget about government and, so, you know, military and interrogators during times of war or whatever. Police use this. They'll make somebody tired, break them down, try and get a confession out of them. And what happens sometimes is people give a confession and it turns out they're not even guilty. They just break the person down until they get them to say whatever they want. Well, the government takes this much further, and they did that with the MK Ultra experiments that we're told started in the 1940s. And it probably has something to do with the end of the war, or what intelligence found out during or towards the end of World War II, but definitely afterwards, because a lot of those guys that were the World War II bad guys were doing all kinds of experiments, and they were mixing scientific experiments and occultism, and a lot of people say that's the same thing. I mean, when you take drugs, that's in the Bible. It says don't take drugs, it's pharmakeia, and it's a way of blurring boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal. Witches make potions and talk to demons. So we have the 1960s counterculture revolution drug guys, Timothy Leary, Terrence McKenna, and they say we make drugs in labs, and you take them and you have your psychedelic experience, which again is blurring boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal. You see things in a different way. You get information you can't get in your sober life. And even just with alcohol, like simple basic alcohol, lives can be ruined and destroyed. Marriages are ruined because people drink too much booze, and next thing you know, have affairs. And somebody drinks enough alcohol and they get blackout drunk and they don't remember what they did, and everybody says that they're a jerk, and it's like another version of that person. Like, I'm trying to think of, they'll have nicknames. Like sometimes you have a buddy that goes blackout drunk, and then they're like, oh, you went away and the Terminator came out and you did a whole bunch of stupid stuff, and they don't even remember it. It's getting drunk and unclean spirits push the person, because alcohol is called, another word for alcohol is spirits, And alcohol comes, it's an Arabic word, which means like soul-eating spirit or life-destroying spirit or something. That's just alcohol, any alcohol. So you drink too much and you do regrettable things, simply put. But also it's a way for unclean spirits to push the person out of the way and take charge. Which again, you know, alcohol and drugs blur the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal and mix them together. Now we have all these pharmaceutical drugs. In the 1960s, Timothy Leary and Terence McKenna would talk about having spiritual experiences on drugs. Or they call them spiritual experiences. I guess you could call them demonic experiences. Well, Timothy Leary worked for the government, and he openly admitted in interviews where he looked into the camera and he said that everything he did for Lucifer. 1960s counterculture revolution drug guy. And we know what happened after the 1960s. It was the 1970s burnouts and the come down from all those 1960s psychedelic drugs. And I know they never went away. They're being popularized again thanks to bozos like Joe Rogan that tell people they haven't lived unless they had a psychedelic experience. So people are like, I want to live. Maybe I want to know stuff that I didn't know. How do I find out? People are curious. We want to know things. We want to see if our lives can be made better. So you take psychedelic drugs, you have this amazing experience, and then you go back to your regular life and you're like, wow, I saw this amazing stuff, and they say that it helped them in their waking life, but it really didn't. It's just useless information that probably you weren't ready for, but you took drugs, blurred the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, and now you had this amazing experience. It really doesn't help you in your life. And we also know what happens when people take too much drugs. Sometimes they never come back, or wrecks them, or you have a bad trip. And so the government uses those drugs in the MK Ultra stuff. That was part of it, is they were giving children acid, they were giving children LSD, and you know, kind of seeing what happens, and getting them to do remote viewing, which is just astral travel. Hey, when you go to sleep, well, it's the same thing that happens with sleep paralysis. You're in that state between sleep and dream, and then you wake up and you're in your room, but you can't move and you can't turn the lights on, you can't turn them off, but there you are. That's astral travel. You're not in the dream realm, you're in the place between dreams and reality. And when people have the MK Ultra stuff done to them, or when they're tortured, there's a thing called or abused. A lot of survivors of satanic SSA, they call it satanic abuse, satanic, sexual, and put those three together, and it's abuse. And I don't know, it's so hard to get away with stuff on YouTube, so I'm saying it how I can say it. You know what that means. So survivors of that, like childhood survivors of that particular trauma, will often have disassociative experiences. And so do the survivors of MK Ultra stuff. Like they know how to wipe somebody's mind. Like you can just find out about it. It's not like a secret. Like if you traumatize and mess with somebody enough and give them drugs, you can kind of wipe their minds and then they don't remember. The famous story that, you can see the woman telling her story, and it's true. Like nobody's trying to disprove it or anything. She was having some mental problems. She went away to get help, and she came back and she didn't remember her husband, she didn't remember her kids, she didn't remember who she was. I think they had to teach her how to read and what letters were over again. They just wiped this woman's mind. So imagine a young developing mind that hasn't developed yet, and they mess with the kids and wipe their minds and make people forget stuff. It's spy movie stuff. And that's what the MK Ultra stuff was done. So the occult bad guys in World War II were doing this research, and then after the war was over, different governments of the world took those people and said, continue your research, even though they were war criminals with crimes against humanity. They were allowed to continue their research and were given all the finest things probably. Just go ahead, keep working, and so MK Ultra comes out of that stuff. I guess I could also talk about Tavistock Institute over in England? It's over in the UK, and they studied the effects of shell shock on soldiers after World War II. And Tavistock is responsible for giving us the band The Beatles. They called it the British Invasion. You could have called it the Tavistock Invasion. You can look into videos or books on Tavistock Institute, the Esalen Institute. They work on programming people, and Tavistock worked on programming people through music, but not only. But I want to say, we're still talking about Stranger Things. So, when Will, that's the little boy, when he has these visions, like he's not even sleeping, he's disassociating in waking life. He's seeing something that triggers him. You heard the word triggered all the time? They want us to think of this word. So Will, in his waking life, this little boy who was traumatized when he was abducted by the government for the MK Ultra stuff, the same stuff that 11 was taken away for, that's the same stuff that was done to Will. And he disassociates in waking life, and he has visions and he sees things, which brings into this Silent Hill. There's definitely some inspiration. Well, I mean, everybody knows, they talk about MK Ultra and Stranger Things, like they openly just say MK Ultra experiments. It's just part of Stranger Things. I saw from somebody else's video that originally Stranger Things was just going to be called the Montauk Project, and it was going to be about this little boy and all the stuff that Stranger Things became. So Stranger Things is influenced by a lot of things. Stephen King's The Mist, which is a story that then became a movie. Remember The Mist, the movie? Where the government opens a portal to another dimension and monsters come through and it takes over the world. It's like a rib, like Stranger Things is a rib from Stephen King's The Mist. Twin Peaks Season 3, I don't know if I said this already because I've tried to do this video before. It's Twin Peaks Season 3, when they talk about Jowday and they do the nuclear experiments. If I said it again, I'm saying it again to reiterate. When they do the atomic bomb testing, Jack Parsons, Oppenheimer, they were occultists. They were interested in all that stuff. I think they were Temelites, which is, or Thelema, or whatever you want to call it, which is Aleister Crowley's little occult group thing that he was interested in. You can go look into Aleister Crowley, who that guy is. It was Iron Man, Tony Stark's inspiration. He said what cinched him apart is Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. He said he did occult rituals and channeled Aleister Crowley, and he said that's what got him the part of Iron Man. So one of the things that I can't remember if it was Oppenheimer and Jack Parsons that they wanted to do, and they probably worked together on this to some degree, was that they were trying to create a homunculi. So they were trying to use like technology, and one of the two made a big chamber, and they were trying to make a homunculi inside there. They were doing rituals to Kali when they did the atomic bomb testing. Kali is Kali the Destroyer. All the UFO sightings and stuff all happened after those atomic bomb tests, when they set up the atomic bombs. And in episode 8 of Twin Peaks, sorry, I feel like I did say this up front. So in episode 8 of Twin Peaks, he spent all the budget on recreating the atomic bomb blast, and then some kind of frog-like thing gets inside Sarah Palmer, that's Laura Palmer's mother, and it coincides with the atomic bomb testing, and it's like the gollywog thing, I'm sorry, not gollywog, pollywog thing, tadpole thing from season 3 that the kid finds in a garbage can. So, opening portals, stuff coming through, it's evil. That's what happens in the Avengers movies, right? Tony Stark creates AI, and then did you ever notice in all the Iron Man movies, it's basically Tony Stark's fault? And it may be his fault of everything that happens in Avengers Endgame. So Tony Stark represents a military-industrial complex. He makes a problem through science, and then he has to clean up the mess. And then leading to Avengers Endgame, what does he call the AI? It's Jarvis, and then he creates the AI man, which is that red-faced guy that falls in love with the Scarlet Witch. That I forget what his name is. Remember that? He's got the gem. He's got one of the Infinity Gauntlet stones in his forehead. Vision. All right. So Jarvis in the Iron Man movies is AI, which uses all their tech, and it's all Tony Stark stuff, right? So then he creates an AI man, artificial life form or whatever, and that's Vision, and then Vision falls in love with the Scarlet Witch. And all those movies are about opening portals to other dimensions, and then evil comes through, and then they go into the other dimensions and the multiverses. All this multiverse stuff is just about opening a portal to the abyss, because there are realms, and they're doing all kinds of this. I have a lot of videos that are already out, and I have plenty of videos to come where I'm talking about what happens when you sleep, astral travel, opening portals to other dimensions, the multiple hadron colliders on Earth, America, China, Russia, Switzerland, and wherever else in the world that they have hadron colliders. Hadron collider is what Winona Ryder destroys in season 3 of Stranger Things, and then it turns out that Hopper is in Russia as a prisoner because that was a Russian hadron collider that they destroyed. If you look at what a hadron collider looks like, it's the thing in Stranger Things season 3. They also have hadron colliders in the Avengers movies. They also have them in the DC movies. The whole thing is about opening portals to other dimensions, to Darkseid, and then Darkseid comes through, and the guy with the horns that they fight in the Justice League movie. I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter what his name is. It's the guy that Wonder Woman cuts his head off. Remember that guy? So it's all of them are about opening portals to other dimensions. Even they did Spider-Man cartoons, and it's called Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, and there's like 3 of those. And if there isn't, there's going to be 3 of them, right? I know they made 2 of them at least. So it's Spider-Man Into the Multiverses. I mean, even K-pop Demon Hunters is about, there's these 3 girls, and the power of their voices, and swords and laser swords and stuff, they defeat demons. So there's like the demon realm, and they're trying to blur our realm with the demon realm. It's even in K-pop Demon Hunters. There's a bunch of video games called the Portal video games, and in Silent Hill, the movies, looks like Stranger Things, when they go into the Upside Down Stranger Things, and the ashes raining down on them when you go into Silent Hill in the movie. It's just like Stranger Things. Silent Hill 2 is about the video game Silent Hill 3, and in the video game of Silent Hill 3, the main character is this girl, and she goes into the mall, and reality blurs between corporeal and incorporeal, and she goes into another realm. It's the mall it's the same thing as Stranger Things. When they go into the Upside Down, and it's like a decaying nuclear fallout version of our world with demons in it and stuff. That's the abyss. So if you look into the Silent Hill movies, it's pretty easy. So Silent Hill, the second movie, is about where the girl goes into the mall, and it blips in from being a regular mall to being like this decaying, rotting it's the Upside Down. It's just the Upside Down from Stranger Things. You can go look up gameplay for Silent Hill 3 if you want to see it, or you can just look up coolest scenes from Silent Hill 1 and 2. And again, what Silent Hill movies as well as video games about? A satanic cult. A cult where they want to open other worlds, and they think opening a hell world will be fantastic. And what is Stranger Things about? The guy that they call Vecna, which is the Dungeons and Dragons character. They call him that because the kids play Dungeons and Dragons. That's their summoning spell. The kids are unwittingly doing magic when they do Stranger Things. It's the same as E.T. E.T. is called an extraterrestrial. So at the beginning of E.T., which openly inspires Stranger Things, they don't even hide it. They're like, yeah, like, you know, in E.T. when they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then E.T. shows up. So in E.T., they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. They do a summoning spell. and then the extraterrestrial comes through. For years there's been theories that aliens are demons, and that comes out in the movie because there becomes a bond between Elliot and E.T. and E.T. the creature, and they become linked together, so the boy starts to have the same powers as E.T. That's demonic possession, Spielberg style. And all the Amblin movies, the 1980s Kids in Peril stuff. So Stranger Things has all that stuff. So, but it's like a darker tone, because in Stranger Things, Will is abducted by the government. They do experiments on him, and then he disassociates in real life, which again relates to Silent Hill 3. I mean, Silent Hill, the movies, even looks like Stranger Things in the Upside Down. Like in Silent Hill, they have those nurses with no face, and then the Demogorgon has, the mouth that opens. Also, it looks like the things from Resident Evil. In Resident Evil 2, they have those plant monsters. That's just it's just a redesign of the Demogorgon thing. So it's a plant monster with a mouth and has no teeth. So it's known thing that Stranger Things pulls from here and there. But it does get biblical, because there's talk about the Battle of Gog Magog in Revelation 20, where the forces of darkness, like grains of sand in the ocean, will fight against Jesus, God, in the camp of the saints. And these hadron colliders, like CERN leaves weird, the one in Switzerland, they have CERN has weird, and CERN is named after Cernunnos, or Cernos, however you want to pronounce it. Some people say it's an old god, it's a horned god. Cernunnos is a horned god. So CERN is an abbreviation. Sorry, I don't remember what the abbreviation means. But it's Cernunnos, who is the horned god. And so one of the public statements when they fired up the CERN Hadron Collider was that they fired it up and something got through. Now, what I was told years ago, along with everybody else, was that the CERN Hadron Collider was to make mini recreations of the Big Bang. The Big Bang's a theory. So what do you mean you're doing mini recreations of the Big Bang using Birkeland current and all this stuff, and something came through? Came through from where? They're trying to open a portal to the abyss, and they keep putting it in our movies and TV shows, so that when they have to let people know that they did it, they'll say, oh, you mean like in the movies, like in Stranger Things, which is like one of the most popular things. Everybody has a nostalgia for the 1980s because the world was better, in terms of quality of life for a lot of people in America and all that stuff. And people that, grew up without, like Zoomers and Millennials, if you were Gen X or a Boomer, you were there. You remember how great it was. If you are Millennial, you watched it die. If you're a Zoomer, you miss it. And nostalgia, by definition, if you look up the definition of nostalgia, it's a form of mental derangement. So that's not healthy. So anyway, everybody has this nostalgia and all the cool, I've seen Stranger Things, what I remember of it. And yeah, the stuff that was cool to me wasn't the monsters or the effects or, oh, look at the gore. You see how he killed a guy? Who cares about that shit? It was just neat to remember how the world was before cell phones and, and mall, and before we knew that it was poisonous to eat junk food. Nobody was talking about health food. And you could just eat food. Probably the quality of food was better back then. So take all those things that they know everybody will like, because you want to make a movie. I'm not saying that the Duffer Brothers are evil and that they work for government psyops or whatever. It's just like, what I am saying is that in blurring the boundaries between corporeal or incorporeal, a lot of ideas for movies and TV show are what we call channeled, and the Duffer Brothers are the channel. What do the demons want people to talk about? Influence them. It's why a lot of artists say, I think Stephen King even said it himself, he said, The question that he hated the most was when people ask him where he got his ideas from, because he doesn't know, because he channels them. Channeling is a form of witchcraft. It's in the Bible. No witchcraft, no fortune telling, no sorcery, no necromancy, no conjuring, and probably you could just put no channeling. What channeling means is you're tuning and channeling like a radio station, I say, and you're opening yourself to the demonic. It's when a songwriter or a musician says, I don't know, it just comes to me. I hear a buzzing. Some musicians have said this, they hear buzzing and then they get an idea for a hit song. It's like an openly discussed thing. When Michael Jackson was alive in the 80s or 90s, I'm not sure when he said this, but he said, I have to go home and I have to go to sleep early, because if I don't, then the spirits will give the good songs to Prince. So Michael Jackson's talking about spirits giving him inspiration for songs, and he just said it. And then he was saying that he had to, if he didn't go home and go to bed, that they would give the good songs to Prince. So it was Michael Jackson's competitiveness for hit songs, and he was openly saying he gets it from spirits from another dimension. So again, biblically, it's just realms. So there are other realms, and their influence on our world is, a lot of artists get whispered stuff. A lot of people come up with ideas and they're like, I didn't realize that the idea, I used to do it myself. The idea that I came up with turns out to be some actual creature or a demon or a form of occultism. Like I had a story about astral travel and I'd never heard of it. And that's channeling. Fortune telling is channeling, whispered by spirits and demons. And it's always bad. Like, what spirits are we talking about? Always unclean spirits. There aren't any good spirits. There's only one. It's His Holy Spirit. So it's basically God saying, you're in a world full of demons. If you want help, just ask me, and I will send the heavenly comforter. I will send my Holy Spirit. That's the only spirit that man is supposed to be interacting with. Just take it to the top. God's telling you, if you want help from me, don't go to the Godfather. Don't go to witchcraft and sorcery. Go to God the Father. And if you want to speak to God the Father, you go through Jesus and ask for help from God. And God sends His Holy Spirit, it's the Spirit of God. That's the only spirit that we're supposed to be asking God to send to us. Only, exclusively, no exceptions. You're not supposed to be talking to spirits. We're even told not to talk to angels. Whether they're good angels or bad angels, you don't know. So no talking, oh, I'm talking to angels. Because people would do this. They'd be fortune tellers and they would say, I'm channeling angels. Yeah, fallen angels. They have angel stores. They used to. I don't know if they have them anymore because all the businesses have gone out of business and it's just Target and Walmart and whatever else is left. But, I used to get new agey, and every now and then somebody's grandma would die and they're like, I'm going to open an angel store. And they'd open a store that didn't even last a year in most cases. And it would sell like angel merch. And it was all wound up being new age fortune telling and witchcraft and Doreen Virtue stuff. And she doesn't even believe it anymore. If you know who Doreen Virtue is, hey, she became Christian because she knew that what she was doing was wholly evil. So she said, I better find Jesus or I'm going to go to hell, because she's not getting any younger, right? No offense to Doreen, if you know who that is. She used to do angel cards. She was an angel cards lady. And Lady Gaga was saying, I do angel cards. Yeah, you're talking to fallen angels. They're down here on Earth with us. People will say, what about the aliens from outer space? There's no aliens from outer space. There's fallen angels and demons, and they're down here with us. They fell from outer space, but they don't get to go back up there. We're stuck with them down here, and they try to ruin our lives. And that's what Stranger Things is about. It's about blurring the boundaries between our world and like hell realms or demon or the abyss. The Hadron Colliders on the Earth are probably the actual real Hadron Colliders. This involves HARP and DARPA, and I don't even want to get into the HARP and DARPA stuff. That I could, but we're going to stay focused on Hadron Colliders all over the world, opening portals to the abyss, My theory is, it's just a theory, for the Battle of Gog Magog. What's the Battle of Gog Magog? It's the last battle in the Bible before there's no more tears and God settles the earth for the last time, and it ends Satan's short season, which we are in now. If you want to talk about that, I have other videos on Satan's short season. It's a playlist on my channel. You can watch it. They make anime about Satan's short season. Neon Genesis Evangelion is about preventing the end of Satan's short season, which people are trying. The Hadron Colliders, the CERN Hadron Collider, they're trying to open the portal to Abaddon, or Abaddon, however you want to pronounce it, which just means portal to the abyss. They want to open the abyss. It's where exorcists send demons when they cast them out. In Jesus' name, by the authority of his name, I command you demons into the abyss. Be silent, be bound, and go to the abyss. And stay there till the Lord God himself does with you as he wills. They want to open that portal and let the demons out. So, you know, the army of darkness, let's just call it, surrounding the camp of saints in Revelation 20. I think it's like Revelation 27. Not 27, but Revelation 20, part 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that, the 7th verse, sorry. I think that's the one where it talks about the camp of the saints being surrounded. Also, we live in a world full of demons. A lot of people have demons in them. They don't know it. There are exorcists. We continue to do exorcisms. So MK Ultra knows about this stuff, and they do experiments to see how they can try and harness that and use it, just like the World War II scary German occultist guys were trying to do, because they were all up in occultism. If you're going to look at the Indiana Jones movies, not that that substantiates anything, but the ideas for the Indiana Jones movies, where Indiana Jones is a government grave robber for the U.S., so he goes after the Ark of the Covenant to take it from the Germans. Then what's the other one? The Holy Grail. The Russians get involved. There's like 5 of these movies. The Dial of Destiny. That's time travel stuff, right? So anyway, Indiana Jones is a guy who searches for occult technology, I guess you could say, if you want to call the Holy Grail, which is not biblical. The Holy Grail, I don't think there's nothing in the Bible about the Holy Grail. I can just say that. So anyway, it's about he finding these things. Oh, he want to live forever. So all that stuff is mixed up in Stranger Things, and I talk about it because, again, the series finale, and it's very popular. But that little boy, Will, he disassociates, and you know, like in waking life. This is a thing that actually happens to people. I haven't really looked into dissociative disorder, but I can't help but think that it has to do with this. When you look at MK Ultra mind control and Monarch mind control, which is, you can look them up on YouTube. I would suggest the Jay Dyer archives. He's a guy that very kind of coldly and analytically goes through, he reads the books for you so you don't have to, he explains this stuff to you, and he's really sharp in retaining it all, which is something I cannot do. So if you're interested in all the stuff I'm talking about, I'm not getting it all from Jay Dyer, but it's a good jumping off point where if you've heard enough of this stuff, you can just fill in the blanks for yourself. And there's a lot of other people that make videos, but he does have a pretty comprehensive archives on books on this sort of thing in MK Ultra. And his wife is pretty much the same. She talks about all the same stuff. Jamie Hanshaw, maybe you want to look into them, both of them. They're both husband and wife. They're interested in all the same stuff, and they know about all the MK Ultra stuff. She wrote a book. His wife wrote a book on it. And and there's a lot of books on these things. And so Wizard of Oz, I didn't talk about that yet. Have you seen the Wicked interviews where they're like, look at Ariana Grande and that black chick, I can't remember her name, sorry, I don't really know who she is. What's her name? I don't know. So anyway, you do the interviews and she's rubbing her finger and they cry, they have these breakdowns. Yeah, they did Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is something that's used in the Monarch mind control, and when people disassociate, they go over the rainbow. This is even in movies. More movies I can bring into this. Well, H.P. Lovecraft, there's a lot of H.P. Lovecraft in Stranger Things, like going to other evil dark dimensions. That's H.P. Lovecraft stuff. But there's so much details, I want to give you all the things that I can think. Oh, Under the Black Rainbow. I don't recommend this movie. I don't recommend you watch it because I don't know who you are and I don't know what's going to do to your brain. But Panos Cosmatos, who made Mandy, which is a really cool Nick Cage movie, talks about a cult and taking drugs and the demonic. Maybe you'll like Mandy, but Under the Black Rainbow is really, it's about mind control. So Over the Rainbow is something used to help people when they're disassociated and traumatized. They'll go to another place and they would go over to Rainbow, go to Oz. So they would use the Wizard of Oz as a programming tool to program people when they mess with their heads. They do this to children. So Wizard of Oz has a lot to do with this MK Ultra stuff and the Monarch mind control, and in Stranger Things they go the upside down. So with Wicked and Ariana Grande and the girl who plays the Wicked Witch in that movie, Cynthia Erivo or something like that. That's her name, right? It's something like this. It's Cynthia Erivo or something, or Vino or whatever. So when they do the interviews and they're crying and they're like, these people are nuts, it's like a big put on and stuff. In a weird way, they may have been, they say a lot of people go through this stuff, that they do brainwashing to them. We know that the Scientologists do it. That's just out on the table, and the Scientologist is like part of CIA and all this stuff. And they brainwash people and they put them in the sauna and they have them take like high doses of vitamin C or something to make them sweat. I forget what it is. And there's all these kinds of tricks they use in the cult of Scientology, and they brainwash people. And cults do this. Cults brainwash people. That's where you're like, why would you ever do this stupid stuff? And then the person that was in the cult says, they brainwashed me. And then I had to take them out of the cult and shake them out of the brainwashing. And again, this all relates to interrogating stuff, which the police does, the military does, to get, try and break people down and get them to talk about stuff that they don't want to talk about. You loosen them up. It also brings into hypnotism. All this stuff is MK Ultra. All this stuff is what the Germans were working on in World War II, and whatever any other government found out, or military rather, they would all use these things. They would, what can we find out about? And they were like probably fighting over the Germans who did this research. Probably the countries after World War II were fighting over who gets those Germans, right? Am I wrong about this? So they broke them up. The Russians had some, the US had some, whatever. Molding and shaping the way that they think. And now they take this stuff, I forget what year this started in, but it used to be illegal to use this psyop stuff on the populace, but now it's allowed. They went through whatever the legal hurdle was, that they were always doing it anyway. But all this stuff happened after World War II. TV was a great tool for programming people. Maybe you want to look into the Sinclair effect, which is not real. It has not been debunked. They say that it's not true, but Sinclair effect was the basis for the movie, the John Carpenter movie, They Live. It was predicated on the Sinclair effect, where a TV company made TVs that were hypnotizing people, getting them to buy shit they didn't need. People didn't have a dog, they'd watch their TV and they'd go and get a pallet of dog food, and they don't have a dog, and they would just keep buying stuff even after they had it. It was using TV to program people through advertising to get them to buy stuff, consumerism. And Sinclair TV company had figured out how to do that, and they were trying it out on people, and they had to shut it down. And it was like a known about thing, and probably now they on Snopes, which is lies, they say, oh, it's not true, that's been debunked, and it hasn't. It's bullshit. So anyway, the John Carpenter movie They Live, with Rowdy Roddy Piper in it, and Keith David, or David Keith. I always switch their names up because their names are switched up. So where you put on the sunglasses and you can see that you're told to consume, and all this stuff, and the sunglasses show you what's really behind advertising, and it's alien invasion and stuff. Yeah, that's all based on government research stuff. And if you think about television, the inception of television was about the invention of the cathode ray, or the cathode tube. The cathode tube, what they were originally trying to do was not make television, because it wasn't a thing. What they were trying to do with the invention of the cathode tube was to make a boundary blurring thing between a spiritual world and our world. So they believed in spirits. They invented the cathode tube to try and talk to ghosts, try to talk to the spirit realm. Again, this is all after World War II stuff. And what they came up with was what we now call television, and that's advanced into the internet and computer and everything. But yeah, the invention of TV was about that they were trying to talk to ghosts, which again is very much like Stranger Things, where it's just early tech for trying to talk to the spirit realm. Now we have hadron colliders, based on what was his name? Marcel Birkeland? I forget his first name, but there's a thing called the Birkeland current. It's very important to the CERN Hadron Collider. And he had Birkeland, the guy, had some weird ideas. He wanted to invent an amphitheater clung into the side of a mountain. Sound familiar? Clung inside of a mountain, where it would be like a weird movie theater where you would see what he called phantasmagorias that would come out of the screen. So that was like it looks like it's a hadron collider. So anyway, I'm just gonna move on from that because I can't remember it that well. But I've seen etchings of it. I've seen etchings of what Birkeland wanted to do. Birkeland was a guy who made many recreations of the aurora borealis inside of a fish tank, and it looks like the Great Conjunction thing. If you've ever seen a dark crystal, the dark crystal has this like indoor planetarium thing that they made. But the Birkeland box was like a fish tank with these spinning balls in it, and what he was trying to do was make like a mini recreation inside of a fish tank of the aurora borealis. And then he came up with the Birkeland current, which is very important to the CERN Hadron Collider. And you can see videos where people make Birkeland currents. So all of it is just about everything I'm talking about, the superhero movies. Just name me 5 more movies that you know about that I don't, where the whole movie is just about opening a portal to another dimension and then demons come through. That's what happens when somebody does witchcraft. They're trying to open a portal. Like, you ever seen a movie where they draw a satanic star and they light candles and they spill chicken blood or human blood, or they sacrifice animals? They're trying to summon a demon. Tenacious D, whatever, something a demon. So our government does this stuff. Our government's into witchcraft and sorcery, and they want to use it for military purposes. They wanted to use astral travel to have somebody go to sleep or to go into a trance state or whatever, and then their spirit leaves their body, and then they can spy on somebody and they can see stuff they're not supposed to see. Where the person's just laying there, but like in the spirit, their spirit or their soul or whatever would travel to another place and be able to see things. They said that remote viewing doesn't work. I don't know if they changed their stance on that. The point is, they found out that the government, the military, found out that remote viewing works, and they never stopped using it. But they told the public, because the public had known something about it, they told the public that it doesn't work. So then you get funny movies like George Clooney and Jeff Bridges in Men Who Stare at Goats, and they're like, here's a mockery of the truth of remote viewing in this comedic movie where it makes this group of soldiers look like idiots for wanting to do psychic research, and it's made a comedy to make fun of it. But the truth of the matter is, they never stopped doing this research, and people astral travel all the time. There's YouTube groups on it. It's called lucid dreaming. And also there's an increasing number of people having not night terrors. Well, night terrors would be part of it too. Sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis and seeing shadow people, and it's scary, and they can't move and they're paralyzed. Yeah, you're in that state between sleep and dreams, so they tell people, oh, it's nothing. It's the psychology of sleep paralysis and shadow people. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. No, you're seeing demons that don't have form. You're blurring the boundaries of corporeal and incorporeal, and you're seeing stuff that's there. I would liken it to keep using movie references. In the Anne Rice movies with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, where Brad Pitt becomes a vampire in the Vampire Diaries, and he sees the world and he can see all the demons and spirits that are around, and he's like, oh cool, that's because he drank the blood and now he can see into the spiritual realm. There are people who do exorcisms that do what is called seeing in the spirit, and they can see things and they can hear voices of demons and stuff, because it's probably part of the gifts of the Bible. In the Bible, God has gifts for us, and there's a list of them, and there's probably even more than are listed for all I know. But some people are more in tune with this spirit realm that most of us don't see. And Stranger Things is about, through trauma, these children get traumatized and it blurs the boundaries between those worlds. And ultimately, what is Stranger Things about? The military, the government, opening the portal to the abyss. And what does it look like? The Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Remember Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Eye of Sauron? Yes, it's evil seeing us. It's evil being able to see us. It's the devil being able to see us. So when they're trying to open the portal with the Hadron Collider in season 3 of Stranger Things, it looks like the Eye of Sauron. It looks like an eye, like a reptilian eye, like a creepy eye. This, what do they call it, bifurcated pupil or whatever they call that. That vertical slit eye, like snake eyes or whatever, and then that's Sauron. You see how they just keep showing you the same things over and over again? In the Marvel movies, they had the Tesseract. Go look at a Tesseract. That's a real thing. It's about dimensions and opening portals to other dimensions. Look into the Tesseract stuff. It's not just Marvel movie stuff. That's based on real stuff. They had the same stuff in the DC movies with Zack Snyder's DC movies with the Justice League. They're trying to get the mother boxes and the cubes and all this stuff and put them together. And it's all about opening or stop them from being put together and destroy them. It's all about opening portals to other dimensions, and then what comes through is evil. Except to make it seem not evil, they'll give you like Spider-Man into the multiverses. But ultimately what always happens is evil gets through. Interesting thing about the CERN Hadron Collider, the one in the Hadron Collider in Switzerland, when they tried to go look up Gotthard Tunnel Celebration. The Gotthard Tunnel Celebration is a weird satanic occult ritual that was put on for some really rich people who paid for the world's largest underground tunnel that we're aware of, that delivered supplies to the CERN Hadron Collider. Go look up Gotthard Tunnel Celebration, and don't watch the whole thing in order, like break it up and jump around back and back, because if you're watching it in order, you probably are a participant in an occult ritual. Sorry. But anyway, maybe just watch a snippet of it and be disgusted and creeped out, and then you'll want to turn it off. I would suggest skipping to the end where you can see the guy who's wearing a taxidermy goat head have an orgy, a mock orgy, and then he gets a woman pregnant, and then she gives birth to some kind of a demon, and that's an €8 million one-time only thank you performance for a tunnel. Gotthard Tunnel Celebration. And they shot it so that we could watch it. They did it for us. They wanted us to see what they were doing. Why is the €8 million one-time only thank you performance for the world's longest underground tunnel look like an outright satanic ritual? I don't know. Probably because it is. And the CERN Hadron Collider, the first time they fired it up, an owl flew into it. You can see video of this. They just show it like it didn't work because they fired up the Hadron Collider and an owl flew into it and ruined the experiment, whatever that means. And then when they did fire it up, they said, well, we turned the Hadron Collider on and we think this time something came through. What the hell are you talking about? And then there's all the weird CERN videos about Mandela effect and all this stuff. And even Stranger Things has an element of time travel stuff, which again, Back to the Future, very popular in the 1980s. They reference that in Stranger Things, if I'm not mistaken. Aren't they like hiding out in Back to the Future screening or something? So anyway, there's an element of time travel in Stranger Things because like they go back to the past, which also is another rib from Stephen King. In the 1990s, they did a made-for-TV miniseries called The Langoliers, and there's like a rift in time, and an airplane goes back to like it goes back to a year in the 1960s, and everything's old. And they do the same thing in Stranger Things. They go back when they go into the, what's it called? The Never Never, the underworld. When they go into the Upside Down. When they go into the Upside Down in Stranger Things, they go back in time, right? They're like, wait, it's my house, but this isn't my house now. It's my house in like 1978 or whatever they did in Stranger Things. So, does the government have time travel? I think that might, or teleportation and all that stuff. That's probably part of the stuff that's lies that they give us. But what isn't a lie is always it's about opening portals to other dimensions and messing with evil shit to get answers, which is witchcraft, sorcery, conjuring. It's the stuff that the government's doing, even with MK Ultra and traumatizing the children and all the looking you can do into it. It's the same thing as satanic SA abuse. SSA, you can go look up what that means. So when they do that, they're trying to make a disassociation, and maybe that's what happened to Cynthia Avino and what's her name? Ariana Grande, when they're crying because they got MK Ultra and Monarch mind controlled because they used the Wizard of Oz in that. And there's even another weird video. I got a strike on my channel in 2024 because I played a video where Demi Moore is making out with a teenage boy at his birthday party, and it's very creepy and weird. And that's why I got struck down. But there's also a part where Demi Moore hears the band at the kid's birthday start singing. They start playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and as soon as she hears it, you can see the switch go on where she gets activated into her mind control stuff, if you believe that. I do. And she just starts somewhere over, and she starts singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow like some kind of weird switch is flipped in her mind, and she just doesn't stop singing it. And she's like, I love this song, and it's very strange. And because that's one of the things they do, they torture and torment a person, they dissociate them. Go look up MK Ultra Mind Control or Monarch Mind Control and Wizard of Oz, and you're going to get a whole schmear on that. I would recommend any Jay Dyer, Jamie Hanshaw stuff on Wizard of Oz. And actually, in the 1980s, they did Return to Oz. And in Return to Oz, which was a Disney movie from the 80s, a little girl goes into Dorothy goes into a mental asylum. It's supposed to happen after the events of Wizard of Oz. And Dorothy goes into a mental asylum, and they give her electric shock therapy, and she disassociates, and she goes back to Oz. And Return to Oz is about Dorothy being put into a mental asylum, being given electroshock treatments, and that sends her back into Oz. The whole movie's about a little girl disassociating, and the little girl is Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. The whole movie's like very revealing about that. Not the one with what's her name? Not the one with Liza Minnelli's mom. Not the one with Judy Garland. The one from the 80s. They electroshock treat. It's very transparent, like right from the start. The movie starts that way. They lock Dorothy up, and they're like, you're crazy about this Wizard of Oz stuff. They give her electroshock therapy, traumatize her, and she goes back to Oz. And it's called Return to Oz. So there's a lot of movies on this. The Stephen King movie 1408, where the whole thing is all about mind control and disassociation, where he thinks he's in a hotel room, but all the characters in the movie are inside John Cusack's mind because he went nuts, and it's all happening in his mind, and it's his mind and these different characters are. Disassociation, multiple personality disorders, whatever it is. I can't remember what they call it now. They phase. Is it called reality shifting? That's what it is. There's this thing now that the Zoomers and Alphas are doing called reality shifting. And this is some sort of mass mind control, because that's what's happening. Stranger Things is like involving the whole world in this. When season 4 ends and they're seeing this like fallout, fallout from the upside down is like raining down upon us, and they're like, you can see them trying to close the rift because the portal to the abyss has been opened, and they covered up with steel plates, right? That's what season 5, that's in there, right? They cover up the crack. At the end of season 4, you see the whole world's being tore up, right? So they put the town under a quarantine, right? And that's just kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it disclosure, if you know what that is. I called it disclosure in another video I did on Stranger Things. But it's like, that's what they're doing. They're opening us up and they're psyoping us. I mean, people openly talk about, oh, that's a psyop, this is a psyop. Like, people put it in their YouTube videos and not even interested in conspiratorial content. It's not what they make. But they'll use the word, oh, that's an op. It's become part of the popular culture because we're all connected through the internet. And they want to program us, and it's easier than ever. So, Stranger Things, they're showing you at the end of season 4, like, hey, we're messing with everybody now. It's not just these MK Ultra kids like 11. And keep in mind that Stranger Things happens in the early 80s. Okay, that's when it's set. It's set in the 80s, and I don't know if they got to the 90s yet. Right, they're still in the 80s. So what we're talking about with Stranger Things is going from people in experiments, finding out and getting results from those experiments on adults and children alike, and then just putting that out to everyone. Like, they're doing this to all of us. Like, national, global psyops, where we're all being opened to the upside down, turning our world into the upside down, opening us up to demons and making it popularized. Witch talk, all the new age stuff that continues to go on. I could go into a whole discussion of what new age is, what it is, but this video's gone on long enough. So, Stranger Things is a fantasy version of stuff that's actually going on. And yes, I am claiming that Hadron Colliders, especially the CERN Hadron Collider in Switzerland, they want to open the portal to the abyss where the demons are that are trapped in there, and they want to bring them out. And I would say that that's probably, if you want to get biblical about it, and I do, that has something to do with the Battle of Gog Magog, which is in the book of Revelations. And Gog Magog are the names of 2 giants. And if you look into Gog Magog, I think over in the UK, maybe it's England, I think, they have like a Gog Magog parade every year, where it's like 2 giants that were friendly giants. And like, what are you talking about? Like, what is that? It's crazy. But they have like a parade about it somewhere in England, I think. Somewhere in the UK. And Gog Magog, there's no other Gog Magog. The Jewish people, they have Gog Magog. I don't know what it means to them, but they have it. They have Gog Magog. But, in the UK, it's 2 giants that saved a village or saved England or something. And it's in the Bible. Gog Magog is the final battle. And Gog Magog are the bad guys. And in the Bible, there is Gog and Magog. But to a lot of people that read the Bible, I think it's unclear what it means. But it's in the book of Revelations how the world gets settled. And that's like the last battle. The final battle is the battle of Gog Magog, where evil loses forever. And then Satan is thrown into the pit with Hades and Sheol thrown down on top of them, and the whole thing is sealed forever, and they're not getting out again. And that's it. No more Stranger Things. So I heard that they're doing, so whatever they do to wrap it up, what do I think about? Also, Stranger Things, people seemed innocent enough and it's a cool idea and everything. But now that it's wrapping up, it seems to me like they just put all the agenda checkpoints in, like all the stuff they call it the message. Like all movies have the same message, and girls are tough, and guys just stand there and go, gee, I don't know what to do anymore. Probably that's how Stranger Things is going to end. I'm guessing that it will probably have a happy ending where they just close the portal to the abyss and it's over. Cool. I like that ending. That's the real ending. But, you know, God intervenes in real life. And Stranger Things, I don't know what they're going to do, because what I've seen of Stranger Things, my memory of it is that there's just too much. They say GD and they use the Lord's name in vain. They say Jesus Christ a lot, but they're not calling and asking him for help. It's like an expletive. And it's not. They say it so many times. I'm like, it's like what's the thing they say most in Stranger Things? I'm just gonna take a guess. More than anything, they say GD and Jesus Christ, and in vain. They say it in vain. So I've been seeing some of this lately with the holidays, with Thanksgiving. I saw some of the Stranger Things, and you know, you visit people, you see family, and Stranger Things is in the air. So I was like, okay, refreshing my memory about Stranger Things, because I think I had seen the first 3 seasons, and I remember season 4, like, you know what I mean, like maybe not seeing all of it, but seeing enough that I can make this video. And so maybe I should just make a Stranger Things playlist, because I think I will. So check and see if I have a Stranger Things playlist. But also, you know, if you want to learn more about Gog Magog, I have a Gog Magog playlist. If you want to check out my playlist, Aliens or Demons, I also have a dream about the Upside Down from Stranger Things. But my playlist is called The Dream Realm, and the Astral Realm and the Dream Realm. Something like that. It's a playlist. And all the thumbnails are Freddy Krueger, because that's part of Stranger Things too. Freddy Krueger is a demon, right? Freddy Krueger is a guy that got possessed of a demon, and then he died, and he haunts people in the astral realm. And that's what they did with Vecna in Stranger Things, is he haunts people and kills them in their sleep, because that's another nod to the 80s. But you know, that is, you know, he thought when you go to sleep you just dream. No, that's also a spiritual battleground. A lot of people fight demons in their sleep, not just with sleep paralysis or night terrors. Just well, go look at my dream playlist, and you'll learn about evil covenants that people make with demons in their sleep, and they don't realize that's what they've done. And you gotta break them by the authority of Jesus' name. You break them, and look at the popularity of other stuff. Maybe it's not Stranger Things, but all the Blumhouse movies, which are a lot of, they bought the rights to The Exorcist. There's the Conjuring series, which is very popular, like 6 or 7 of those, which is about bogus exorcist people. They have Paranormal Activity, and they have all the Annabelle, that's all part of Conjuring, right? So it's all about demons and demonically possessed things and fighting evil. And it's all over the world. People love anime. There's all kinds of anime. Every third anime, if I'm not mistaken, it's about you're half demon. You have demon blood in you. That's K-pop demons, which is not Japan, it's Korea. But you have either they're in love with a demon, they get their powers and abilities for a demon, they make blood pacts with a demon, that's Chainsaw Man. They are half demon, they're a demon-human hybrid. Or they use witchcraft and sorcery to harness a demon. That's Pokemon. It's called Pocket Monster in Japan. Everybody knows this. So demons are in the background of our world, all over the world. Some countries, they worship and venerate them. Voodoo, they openly say that they're going to talk to spirits, and they do voodoo ritual, and they get into altered states, and then the demon rides the people, and that's a voodoo ritual. Santeria, the blood offerings in that. There's the Hindu pantheon of demons. They worship demons. And superhero movies are also worship and veneration of the old gods. This stuff is intertwined with our lives and within popular culture. the Terrifier, all that stuff. Like the movie's predicated on the violent kills. There's a lot of this, slasher films, all this stuff. Go look into Nephilim clowns and demons, and clowns are Nephilim. There's Paul Staub's channel, Understanding Conspiracy. Maybe you would like that. The Terrifier is all part of the demon realm, all this stuff. The checkerboard floor is a black and white clown demon killing people and all this stuff. I don't know. I've never seen a Terrifier movie. I heard there's 4 of them. I'm never going to see one. I don't care. I don't have much to say on that. But Stranger Things, it's kind of corny. Like, it's really not that good. I mean, my criticism of Stranger Things, which I think I already gave in one of these other videos in December, my criticism of Stranger Things is too many times, like the demons, the Demogorgons and all, they kill everybody right away, and they just plow through armies, they plow through soldiers, and they just tear them apart. But when it's one of your main characters, they always stop and they're like, rah, and they scream at them instead of just killing them, and they wipe out whole battalions of soldiers. But our characters are still alive and they should be dead. Other criticisms, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. Every time they throw somebody up against the wall, all you have to do is have somebody thrown up against the wall one time and they're just not going to get back up. You know what I mean? If like force blast them with psychic powers, like I've seen them, they do it to children. They throw children into everything and they get up and they're fine. You just wouldn't get up. Do you ever have the wind knocked out of you? I don't know. Too many spine-crushing injuries, just throwing people around like it's nothing. Like the idea in Stranger Things where they just go back to I'm just gonna be a high school kid again after they're horribly traumatized, and they weren't even part of MK Ultra. It was just like their friends and family that saw that there was demons and that they went in other dimensions, now just hanging out there. It was this hell realm where mankind couldn't survive. Now with season 5, I guess, they have like military outposts in the Upside Down, and I'm like, come on, you just took away the meanness of your monsters, right? Like the scary terrifyingness of hell realms and everything, which is good. I mean, we shouldn't be afraid of this stuff. We're not supposed to be afraid of stuff that happens in nightmares and dreams. We're not supposed to be afraid of that stuff. But in Stranger Things, it's supposed to be like this big intimidating thing. And how many times were the characters are gonna die, and then right then somebody else shows up and there's the girl that blasts the monster away, or somebody, like everybody else dies like that, and it's this horrible terror from another dimension, and it just tears people apart, but not the main characters, and they'd all be dead already. It's like Indiana Jones in Temple of Doom, where at the beginning of the movie, they jump out of the plane into a life raft, and they should be dead. But instead, that's the beginning of the movie. Suspension of disbelief. So, I think, a lot of, people don't believe in demons and that it's not the way that we think and stuff with Stranger Things. But people love this, and it's really corny, which I guess maybe it's supposed to be. The whole Brett Gelman character, can't stand that character in Stranger Things. If they kill anybody, I was like, I hope they get rid of that guy, the Brett Gelman guy. I hope they get rid of that character because he sucks. But this is my opinion. But probably if they're gonna do Stranger Things spin-off, I can only see like it's only gonna be about that guy. Like Stranger Things spin-off, like they did with X-Files and all that stuff. It's gonna be about it's gonna be the Brett Gelman show, right? And then put him together with a bunch of LGBT teens, and they're all finding out more secrets about Stranger Things. I heard they did a play. They made a Stranger Things prequel play on Broadway. It's a musical? Okay, whatever. So yeah, my criticisms are, like the first one, I guess the first 3 are okay. But then they just started injecting it with the same messages and themes that are in every movie that everybody's sick of. But I guess the way that Stranger Things does it, people like it, so they don't care. They just want to, just want to live in the 80s, probably, is what it is. and you know, all the stuff, the Cold Wars and the psyops. So anyway, yeah, Stranger Things. It's about opening the portal to Abaddon, which is what people at CERN want to do. I'll leave you with this kind of a spooky thing. One of the things that comes up, actually two things. One of the things that comes up in Stranger Things is electrical phenomenon. That's a pervasive theme throughout Twin Peaks, from the TV show in the 1990s, from season 1 to season 3. Electricity as a conduit for evil and a communication between realms is a consistent theme, and it becomes really strong in Twin Peaks season 3. It even has Agent Cooper in the Mauve Zone, Kenneth Grant Mauve Zone. I'm not even going to get into that. That's just like realms and dimensions or whatever. Occultist Kenneth Grant, weirdo. So in Twin Peaks season 3, Agent Cooper, who's an FBI agent, is in a realm, and how he gets out of that realm has to do with him literally traveling through an electrical socket, traveling through electricity. And you know, Stranger Things, that's how they communicate to each other from the upside down to our, you know, regular world in the town of Hawkins, is through electricity. Remember, they use the light bright and they talk to each other, and they're giving each other messages through electricity when they're in the hell realm. And then, yeah, well, I've had a weird experience with that myself. I used to blow out lights all the time, street lights. I was having like one of the worst times of my life, and this would have been early 2000s. And I was telling people, hey, you know how they put those new motion detector lights so that when you drive through them they come on? I said, well, they haven't figured out the technology. They keep blowing out. And then people were like, what are you talking about? Those lights don't exist. And they didn't. Like, I would drive around, and in the daytime I would blow out street lights, and in the nighttime I would blow out street lights. And I thought it was, I was like, I had no idea of occult stuff or Stranger Things, but yeah, weird stuff happens around electricity. And other people were witness to this. Like, I'd be with somebody else, like driving with them or driving them, and then the lights would go out, and it would keep happening. It was really freaky and weird. And again, it was one of the worst times of my life. So yeah, there's definitely something about spiritual realm stuff in our waking life and electrical stuff phenomenon. That's all I can tell you about that. The other weird thing, this is the last thing. Years ago, I had a dream where I was at CERN. I know I'm talking about a dream. Just let me finish. You can do with this what you will. I had a dream about CERN, and I was there at the collider, and I asked a guy, I said, what is this? And he said, it's a portal to the abyss. We're trying to open a portal. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting it wrong. He said, it's a portal to Abaddon. And I said, Abaddon? And then I woke up and I forgot about my dream. Then later in the day, I was like, I remembered the dream, and I said, Abaddon, is that a word? So I looked it up in a dictionary, like an actual physical paper. This is a long time ago. I looked it up in an actual physical paper dictionary, and it is a word. It's Abaddon, and it means the abyss. So before I never read the Bible when I had that dream, and I didn't know that Abaddon was a word. But I have a dream about the Hadron Collider that I'm in it, like I'm at the site where the Hadron Collider is, and I asked the guy that worked there, I said, what is it? And he said, it's a portal to Abaddon. So that's a weird dream I had, because, you know, we dream when we go to sleep. We have dreams every night. Either you remember them or you don't remember them. But I didn't know that Abaddon, or Abaddon, or however you want to pronounce it, was a word. But I had a dream about it, and that's what the Hadron Collider was, and now I believe it. I believe that they're trying to open a portal to the abyss. And one of the things that, and maybe it doesn't mean anything to you, telling you about a dream I had, but I didn't know that. I never heard that word before. I never heard the word of Abaddon or Abaddon. I just remembered the dream, and I was like, oh yeah, how would you spell that? And I looked it up in a dictionary, and it was right there. It was really easy to find. I kind of like turned right to it, and it says portal to the abyss. And I was like, okay, what's abyss? Not good, okay? But, you know, if you read the book of Revelations, the bad guys lose forever. So, So what is Stranger Things about? Opening portal to another dimension. Just like all the Marvel movies, all the DC superhero movies, like the Portal video game, like Silent Hill video games, like Silent Hill movies, like Stephen King's The Mist, like you name me other movies where they open a portal to someplace else. Even the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, that's about messing with people in their sleep and their dreams. They go into the dream realm and they it's like corporate espionage or whatever, right? I can't remember Inception so much anymore. They go into that realm. They do astral travel. They do lucid dreaming to spy on people, right? Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck from the 1980s. It's one of the famous flops, but I think it's a good movie. I like Howard the Duck. I liked it when it came out. When it came on cable in the 80s, I watched it over and over again. I was like, this movie's cool, and nobody liked it. I guess it was hard for people back then to believe that a duck would fall in love with Leah Thompson. But Howard the Duck was about opening a portal to another dimension, and demons were coming through. And Jeffrey Jones got possessed. He was a scientist, and he got possessed by a demon. And the demon manipulated Jeffrey Jones to open a portal to another dimension via Hadron Collider. So Howard the Duck from 1985 was about opening portals to another dimension. That's how Howard the Duck got here. So if you want to see a lighthearted portal movie and you like Stranger Things, go check out Howard the Duck, because I feel like people will like it more now than in the 80s, because it was not a hit in the 1980s. It was a famous flop. But special effects are pretty solid. It's a weird thing that a duck falls in love with a human woman. That's very modern. That's very today. The monster is cool at the end. They're opening up a demon portal, and the demons are coming through like H.P. Lovecraft stuff, I guess. And it's all about the Hadron Collider. 1985, Hadron Collider opening portal to another dimension. Buckaroo Banzai with Peter Weller and Jeff Goldblum. You might like that one. Same thing. It's about the Manhattan Project, and John Lithgow's in that opening. He's going to play Harry Potter, right? So Buckaroo Banzai, you can just watch it for free on YouTube. You can probably clip grab it for free on YouTube at 1080p or something. It's about opening a portal to another dimension, and evil comes through. So you tell me, if you want to leave comments, you can name as many portal movies as you want, and I'll go, oh yeah, I should have put that one in there. Stargate is about opening a portal to another dimension. Star Trek was always about, they were in outer space and they were going into other dimensions all the time. J.J. Abrams' Fringe was about opening portals to other dimensions. Remember the show Fringe? You might like that one too. If you like Stranger Things, you might more weird shit like that. J.J. Abrams' Fringe has the isolation tank that Eleven goes into, which was John C. Lilly. John C. Lilly is an occultist like Aleister Crowley. And he would go into the sensory deprivation tank that Joe Rogan always talks about. That's in Fringe. And they also, Fringe has, it's a rib. Stranger Things was influenced by J.J. Abrams' Fringe. I know people hate J.J. Abrams because he doesn't know how to end things. He doesn't know how to end Fringe either. But in Fringe, you'll probably, if you've never seen it, you'll probably dig it. And again, it's probably one of those things you could just watch for free on like Tubi or something. If you want to watch anything. I try not to watch stuff anymore, but when you're with other people, you're going to be subjected to whatever they want to watch on TV, and they want to watch it, and they want you to watch it with them. So Fringe is about other dimensions. It's about MK Ultra experiments. They have like a creepy doctor guy that used to experiment on children's, which is all the MK Ultra stuff. That's Fringe is about a girl who grew up she's in the FBI or CIA or something. And then she remembers how she was MK Ultra'd in her childhood, and they put her in an isolation tank. And it's just like Stranger Things. It's the same. You could, it's like the same type of thing. It's just also J.J. Abrams' Fringe is early bringing in multiverses into TV. So there's like 5 seasons of Fringe. So you can watch the first 3, and then when you figure out what's really going on, with the end of season 3, then you won't give a shit about season 4 or 5, and you won't even care to watch them. But it's fun until then. It's fun until the end of season 3. Yeah, and there's just like so much Portal stuff. It's very popular. There's also been a lot of TV shows. I talked about this in other videos on Stranger Things, where people wake up one morning and they forget who they are. There's a couple TV shows like this. There's a couple modern movies like this, where the whole world doesn't remember what happened, and all of a sudden a bunch of people are gone and then nobody knows where they went. That's what happens in the Avengers movies, where they're like, there was the blip and people have lost like years of their lives and the whole world's different and half the people are dead because of Thanos' snap and depopulation. Yes, this is like mass psyops on the populace, and it brings in technology, all the tools they use for MK Ultra stuff, which is geoengineering, all the stuff, all the different tech they're using on us now, geoengineering, bioengineering foods, drugs, sleep drugs like Ambien and Lunesta, and all the crazy dreams people have in those things. What else am I missing? They say geoengineering, geoengineering, bioengineering, pharmaceutical drugs, openly letting us have like gas station weed, like government weed. You can just go to the gas station and just buy it. And like if you hit a Delta 8 or Delta 9 pen or whatever, like you hit it 5 times, you're gonna be baked. That's part of the future, is Netflix and pills. The CEO of Netflix spent a lot of money on smell-o-vision, and they said, why are you investing in smell-o-vision? He said, well, it's the future of Netflix. You're going to take Netflix and pills. You want another thing about our future in terms of just watching Netflix? You have Netflix, The Electric State. You also have Robin Wright in the Congress. Robin Wright was a Princess Bride, so look up Robin Wright, The Congress. Again, that's another movie you can just watch for free, where Robin Wright wants to go online, so she takes drugs and she just stays in another, she just stays online by being high, because it's like part of going online is a drug you take. Ready Player One, where everybody's living in shipping containers and they just want to be online all the time. It's the future where you own nothing and you love it. Spielberg directed Ready Player One, and what's it about? A big battle. It's like an IP slop fest, and it wasn't a hit. But again, you could equate it with multiverses and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just it's the future they're aiming us toward. What other 5G. I forgot to mention 5G, and whatever 6G is, 7G, whatever they come out with. 5G is about manipulating us through frequency. There's also elf waves. There's voice of God technology. These are all things you can look into. Where there's MindFi, where they want us to be able to just receive the internet. The whole idea of the chip, the Elon Musk chip, Elon warning us about AI, and then having, then developing AI with Grok. Also, there's the what's that brain chip he wants to put in everybody? He wants to put a chip he wants to put a chip in our heads. There's the pin, there's the RFID technology. All this stuff is the future they want for us, that leads to the Battle of Gog Magog, whether you or I ever live to see it. And Stranger Things, all that stuff's wrapped up in it. One of the things in Stranger Things was that the guy had the tracking chip in his neck. The guy that becomes Vecnar. He had a suppressing thing, he had a little suppressing pin or chip or whatever it was in his neck to restrain his powers. Demonic possession. The kids in Stranger Things get their powers from demons, from the upside down, because we don't have these things in this world. But when you link yourself between the corporeal and incorporeal, you get influenced by demons. Why do their noses bleed in Stranger Things? Well, biblically there's this thing called ritual blood sacrifice, which you're not supposed to do. So when blood is spilt, that activates your powers and abilities. It's blood sacrifice, a blood offering. Give the demon what it wants, which is some blood, and it'll either take the pain away, that's cutting, or it will give you your powers and abilities, like in Stranger Things. The kids want to activate, they start using their powers and then they bleed out their nose. They're offering their blood to demons. I mean, that's the real world equivalent. In Stranger Things, it's like empowering. Like, they're using their powers and it makes them bleed. Isn't that a cool little detail? It's based on ritual blood sacrifice, which, Santeria, other voodoo, they do that. And it's forbidden in the Bible to do. There's the laws of the Bible. In Leviticus, there's the laws of blood and what you can do and can't do with blood, and rules of blood play, or whatever you want to call it. And summoning demons is against God. That's just the only spirit that you're supposed to call upon is the Holy Spirit of God, and it's the only one you really need. But anyway, Stranger Things and the blood stuff and the black goo and all this stuff, it's just evil, being taken over, demonic possession. A lot of Stranger Things is possession. Like, there was that one dirtbag kid, and he became a serial killer in whatever season that was, and he was running around, offering people up as sacrifices to the mind flayer. Remember that? So you probably know better than me, but for what I've forgotten about Stranger Things, it's relatable to stuff that are military industrial complex programs that they don't hide that they did. And some of it's lies, and be careful when you watch, if you're going to watch movies on MK Ultra stuff, or if you've already seen YouTube videos on the research that they did, keep in mind that some of it's bullshit to lead you astray, but what isn't is that they mess with people's heads to open portals to demons and let them in. And the remote viewing stuff is probably true. It's just astral travel. And yeah, that's all. If you really want to get into the Stranger Things stuff, I guess I have to recommend the Jay Dyer stuff and whatever his wife has to say about it. That's Jamie Hanshaw. I would say that's good, like kind of dry. I mean, he tries to be silly, that's fine, but if you want information based on he does the research, he has notes every time, I would recommend the Jay Dyer stuff if you're going to look up MK Ultra stuff, if you're not already aware of him. And because he's been talking about this stuff for years before there was Stranger Things, and he would read the books on globalization to you and what their plans are, and how he knows the names of the papers that were released. Like, he talks about white papers. He does the research, and he tells you how to go do that research yourself, instead of just watching other people's videos like mine, where I just watch videos and they don't substantiate my claims. He has the homework, the legwork. So that would be all. Stranger Things. It's kind of corny, right? It's kind of corny. That is all. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you don't know if you want to be subscribed to my channel, just do it anyway. You'll probably be unsubscribed. People subscribe to my channel and ring the bell and get notified for videos, and they still get unsubscribed all the time. So just do it anyway. I don't know what's so dangerous about my channel, but YouTube kind of hates it, and I'm definitely, if Stranger Things is about the upside down, I'm coming to you from the realm of the shadow band here, which is neither the Black Lodge nor the White Lodge, because I don't really like David Lynch, but curtains and everything, it kind of feels, it's not Cinema Silencio isn't back there either, okay? So David Lynch, the guy is a bozo. I know, rest in peace. I hope he got into heaven and everything, but you shouldn't be watching that shit. But Twin Peaks season 3 is all full of, I mean, the whole season's about opening the portal to the abyss. That's what it's about. And other stuff. So Stranger Things is about this. I hope you liked how they wrapped it up, because if you're watching it this far, then you're probably interested in Stranger Things, because this is one of my longer videos. I'll probably put this in Stranger Things playlist, Gog Magog playlist. It'll probably also go into Lo-Fi Chill Jams, because my Lo-Fi Chill Jams playlist usually has longer form videos. So if you just want to like listen to me while you do other things at home, maybe check out my playlist called Lo-Fi Chill Jams. And keep in mind that these are free YouTubes. Like, a lot of people have hobbies. This is making YouTube videos. Telling you to pray to God is my hobby. So Stranger Things, demons. Pray to God. Ask Him for help. Don't talk to ghosts or channel spirits. Pray to God. Amen. Hi, I have more. I thought the video was done, and I remembered 2 things I didn't talk about. One, A Wrinkle in Time as an open influence of the Duffer Brothers, that they mention it in the show. And that has hive mind in it. So I'm going to talk about hive mind stuff. But also I'm going to talk about when those particles are in the air that looks like it's stuff from the upside down that's like pollution. And then Hopper breathes it in one of the seasons. And he's like down in the tunnels or whatever. And it's like poison. And it makes me think of geoengineering and bioengineering. Part of stuff that the military government is doing to the population is through geoengineering. They are releasing, in jets and stuff, which is geoengineering, they're releasing stuff down on us. It's not just to affect changes in weather patterns. And like geoengineering is a real thing. It's not a secret. Rich Saudi royals live in the desert, and they shoot barium rockets up into the sky to make it rain. Look up the NASA cloud machine. We have weather manipulation technology. But one of the other things that's being done is that they're releasing stuff down on us that is to affect changes on us. One of the cryptic statements of Palantir guy, as well as Joe Rogan now, because he's buddies with, what's his name? The reptile. Peter Thiel. You're hearing people say, oh, we're not going to be human anymore, whatever that means. Well, they're releasing stuff down on us. I'm not talking about Stranger Things. I'm talking about us. So in Stranger Things, stuff from the upside down is getting into our world and we're breathing it in. And when Hopper breathes that in the tunnels in one of the seasons, he passes out and he's sick. He's like lost in upside down tunnel world or whatever. And he's breathing the stuff in. And it's making him sick or whatever. Remember that? But also at the end of season 4, that's how it ends. You see the stuff raining down from the sky in broad daylight, and it looks like that dust from the upside down. It looks like nuclear fallout or ash or whatever. And the same stuff is in the Silent Hill movies, where when you go into Silent Hill, that stuff is raining down like ash, and it's like some kind of, because you're in hell or whatever. But the real world reflection of the stuff that they put in the movies is that they are like this is MIT stuff even. They are geoengineering particles down into us that we breathe in. Look at when they put the world under lockdowns and they made a lot of people in different countries, they made them do this stuff, like we're going to put stuff in you. And some people weren't allowed to resist. They were forced to do it. Like Italy comes to mind. And probably Australia. They were not, it was hard on the Australians under lockdowns. They're like made to do stuff. And they weren't the only countries. But there's also bioengineering. Bioengineering is a warning label that they put on foods. I'm seeing it all the time. Like when I buy products, even if it's locally made by the local bakery of my local supermarket, which isn't a national chain, I have to flip labels and look, because it'll say this product contains bioengineered ingredients, and it's pretty much synonymous. If you're going to buy like taco shells at the store, don't bother unless you're buying organic taco shells, which are GMO. You're gonna see like Old El Paso taco shells or any kind of taco products. You're going to see this contains a bioengineered ingredient. And like I remember buying bread at the supermarket bakery where they bake the stuff on premises. I flip it over and my local supermarket says this product contains bioengineered ingredients. So if a product contains, it's in chocolates and candies, it's in snack foods, it's all over the place anymore. And products will have a label, where it says ingredients at the bottom in bold letters. It will say this product contains bioengineered ingredient, or this product contains ingredients that were bioengineered, which is the same thing. It's a warning that basically means don't eat it. They have to put it on food. I'm glad that they have to put it on food. There's probably food that we eat that they don't say that it's been bioengineered, but they don't label it. But a lot of things nowadays, like if you're gonna buy Betty Crocker or Pillsbury stuff, it's gonna say bioengineered ingredients. They're bioengineering us. They're changing us. Into what? I don't know. I can only think it has to do with transhumanist agendas. You thought that was just Tony Stark Iron Man? So when I see the fallout, or whatever you want to call it, from the upside down, from the rift raining down on the world, out of the sky from the rift that was open at the end of season 4, it just makes me think of changing us. Like, we're breathing this stuff in. They're doing stuff to geoengineer changes in us. It makes me think of transhumanist agenda, that they're changing us. They're putting it in the food. You know, you are what you eat. You're eating bioengineered ingredients. You're getting bioengineered. You are mandated to take stuff into your blood. Whatever that means, they're doing something to you. If you they're geoengineering us with stuff that comes down from the sky, and there's lots of reports of this kind of stuff all over the world. Releasing numbered mosquitoes. I remember this is like a Russian story that we were seeing from Russian news, where they're like, why do these mosquitoes have numbers on them? Like, people hit them. It hurt my hand for real. People swat a mosquito, and they're like, it has a number on it. Why does this mosquito have a number on it? What are they doing to us? They're changing us. Again, statements of we won't even be human anymore. Transhumanism, which was a term coined by Julian Huxley. His brother was Aldous Huxley. And this, I'm going to bring it into Madeleine L'Engle, or however you pronounce that, in A Wrinkle in Time. In Wrinkle in Time, the character's a girl, and she's trying. I thought it was just about daddies and daughters. I thought that's what that book is about, but now that I'm older, I look at it differently. There was this other world in Wrinkle in Time, and her dad was a prisoner in this other world, which is realms. So in Wrinkle in Time, they go into other realms, which is relatable to Stranger Things, and upside down and going into another realm. And in the other realm, one of the other realms, it's a hive mind, and all the people in the world are controlled by an AI brain or something like that. This is in Wrinkle in Time. And Disney likes Wrinkle in Time. They did a Disney Channel original miniseries of Wrinkle in Time, like in the 90s, because I have progeny, I remember them watching that. And also, Disney, I think it was Disney, made a movie of it with Oprah Winfrey and Brie Larson. And remember, that was Brie Larson's statement she made, where she said, I don't care what 40-year-old dudes opinion is on Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for them. It was made for little girls or whatever. It's programmed in. Destroy the patriarchy. Rah, rah, rah. All that. Remember that? So, Wrinkle in Time. So they like that. And the thing that I always remember about Wrinkle in Time is where there's a world that's a hive mind, controlled against their will, controlled by a hive mind. They can't fight it. You could bring in 5G. Oh, the buzzer's going off. Anyway, I told you this as I tack this on. I'm cooking food. So there are other works of fiction where they talk about the hive mind. People in the real world talk about China trying to make they're trying to make China into a hive mind over there, because there is a sensibility where, like, China is about China and they want the Chinese to win, whatever. And Russia's about Russia and they want the Russians to win. And America, everyone's about themselves and they want to sacrifice America up as some kind of ritualistic blood sacrifice to usher in globalization. Maybe it has something to do with the evil fake Israel state that they founded out in the desert in 1948, saying, what do we love the most? It's our military that we don't need anymore. We'll offer up America as for the bloodstone to get the infinity gauntlet so that we can reshape the world and have their 200-year messianic rule that they believe in. So, you know, Thanos offers up his daughter. So there are some that would say that America is supposed to be a sacrifice, because America is not about making America number one. Like, we're being torn apart. Like, they want to destroy America, and then, hey, globalization, then, you know, nobody can resist anymore, and you'll live in a pod, and you'll eat the bugs, and we have 5G, and we have, damn it, I can't think of the Elon Musk mind control chip thing. What's that called? Neuralink. We'll have Neuralink. You know, who needs George Orwell's 1984? We don't need to punish people for being in love with each other like Winston and Julia in an authoritarian regime. We will just have people will fall in love with AI. We'll get them distracted with programming AI to love them. People are falling in love with AI and getting married to it already, and it's a program. And Aldous Huxley, brother of Julian coined transhumanism. Aldous Huxley in the 1920s wrote Brave New World, and in Brave New World everybody is just it's kind of like a hive mind. Everybody just goes along with it. People aren't born, they're hatched. The elites get to do things differently, but everybody else is going to be on board. In 1984 it's a little bit different, because if you don't go along with it, you'll be punished. Like Winston and Julia, the plot of 1984 is Winston and Julia fall in love with each other in a world where people aren't allowed to do that. So they get tortured. They get tortured until they don't love each other anymore. And the story, go watch the John Hurt 1984 movie. You just watch it for free on YouTube. But in the book 1984, Winston and Julia aren't in love with each other at the end of it. And that's the whole point of the story. Love doesn't win. Don't love each other. Two people love each other, and you have a whole country full of people that love each other. That's something that you're going to have to fight. You know, like, it's divide and conquer is the easy way to control people. Keep them isolated, alone. And in Stranger Things, there is an element of love that's interesting. You know what I mean? All the romances and stuff, because people are cut that way. So if I want to say something positive about Stranger Things, I would say the romance aspect. And even when they handle LGBTQ romance, it's like done tastefully. So there you go. Even though I feel like they mind controlled the kid that played Will. Like, didn't they just probably work on him? Like, I just feel like if you're in a movie about mind control or The Wizard of Oz, they're gonna mess with your head. So, it's maybe a crude statement to make, but did they make that kid gay? Like, because that's part of the trauma abuse survivors. Sometimes switches get flipped in people, and they'll have like a weird sexual proclivity, or they'll be like LGBTQ, and that's psyops on the public too. Like, why are they propagandizing sexuality stuff to kids who aren't thinking about sexuality stuff in the public school system? Not just in America, but in other westernized countries. Why are they propagandizing? Maybe you want to be gay. Well, that's part of disassociating. Like, you know, sometimes people disassociate because of abuse, and that's all sexuality stuff. It's in Anton LaVey's book on the how-to book of Satanism. He talks about how you can, you know, flip a switch in a person and give them a weird sexual proclivity. You can imprint a thing on a person, and that's where fetishes come from. And this is in a recipe book for how to do Satanism and how to be a witch, from founder of the modern day church of Anton LaVey, who was like trying to give Satanism he was like a propaganda guy. Hey, Satanism's not so bad. We got Sammy Davis Jr., we got, you know, and anyway. You can see that stuff coming into Stranger Things, right? With like by the third season, they're doing the gay stuff. Also, one of the things I didn't talk about before is androgens. L is named after 11. That's the 11th test subject, but they call her L. L is Elohim, and the Elohim are like angelic class, where they have like angel blood in them, in terms of biblical stuff. So look at the number of movies, especially movies that talk about transhumanism, like Lucy. Elle, or Ellie, is a popular name that's in a lot of these movies. I'm trying to think of other things that have this. Or Lilith is another name. But if you look at science fiction stuff, there is a lot of this use of the name Elle. It's a prefix that they would put, oh, you're just of this class of people, in angelic hierarchy or whatever it is. Then El, it means Elohim. So they put her in this, which is Gnostic stuff. The idea of the first season of Stranger Things, before they figured out where they were going with it all. The little girl, number 11, is, they call her El, which is Elohim. El, Ellie. This is a common name in these types of movies. It's not just Stranger Things. They didn't even do it first. But she's also an androgen. She's a little girl, but they have her head shaved, so she kind of looks like a little boy. She's defeminized. She's kind of taking on what would typically be in other movies a masculine role. She has, this is the Gnostic idea, the union of opposite stuff, and Baphomet symbolism, the androgyny, this popular thing now, androgens. And yeah, I know that later in the show, like, she has a boyfriend, and that's one of the other characters and all that stuff, and they're like, that's one of the love of the whole story, is the love between the one boy and Elle. And but it's also like this, the girl's the hero character, and she has all the powers and abilities, and when they do give another boy powers and abilities, he's LGBTQ. I feel like I should point that out. But also there's a lot of Gnostic stuff, and this idea of bringing in a new age or a new era. We have a divine patriarchy that's Father, Son, Holy Spirit. None of them is women. So in the Luciferian inversion of things in popular culture and this destroy the patriarchy stuff, it's elevating women and putting them in the place of the natural order. When Adam and Eve sinned in the Garden of Eden in Genesis, God lays down the law for them, some of the first rules. The first rule was, don't eat of the forbidden knowledge of good and evil. Then Eve does it, then Adam does it, and then God says, okay, Adam, you were here first and you were good. Eve showed up and she messed up. I'm punishing both of you because you shouldn't have partaken of that knowledge. You should have come to me and said, hey, look what Eve did, but instead you guys are both guilty. So now the husband is the head of his wife, and that's how it's going to be until God settles the earth. So it's establishing biblically from God, from the top, there's an order to things, and the man's in charge. So if you want to tear up the world and go against God, you make everything about elevating the woman above the man and switching places. What's a woman in this modern world? Well, woman just imitates all the worst behaviors of men, and that's why you get all these unlikable crimson wave feminist heroes in movies, books, TV shows, gaming, and like, what's with all this stuff, like this man-hating women, and men are superfluous, and they put it in Star Wars and they put it in everything. They call it The Message. It's the South Park thing where they said, make it a chick, make her gay, make it lame. Yeah, there's Stranger Things has all that stuff too. They're just better at crafting it. Like George Miller with the Mad Max Thunder Road or whatever it's called, and then the Furiosa movie. Some people are just better at giving you the message, which is make her a chick, make it gay, make it lame. George Miller's better at it. He did 2 movies like that people liked, even though I know a lot of people didn't see Furiosa. So they're doing the same thing in Stranger Things, but they did it right, so people like it. They love Stranger Things. There's 10 years of it, right? Isn't they been making the Stranger Things like one every 2 years, and now it's like 10 years or whatever. So, and now they're wrapping it up. And you can see all this stuff, like, I forget what season it is, where the girl goes on a bus of like Antifa youth, and they just outright are killing people that worked in the labs. And then there's that one, they bring diversity and have the Indian girl. Now for season 5 they're bringing her back again, so it's going to be a very important character, otherwise they wouldn't bring her back, right? So another kid that was a test subject, and you know, all that feminism shit, which is, you can also equate it to Gnosticism stuff and Luciferian inversion. Same thing. We got a divine patriarchy. Now we're all about women, and men stand down. All that stuff. It's a technique that they used before, the effeminization of men, so that they don't fight back, so that they stand down, and elevating women. And like I said it already, telling, what's a woman? Oh, a woman is imitating the worst behaviors of men. That's not a hero. Just, it's about destruction of the idea of a hero virtue. All the major publishing houses in America, they were given notes about, this is like probably back 2016, 14, whenever, years ago. They were told, here's how we're going to approach publishing, which is BlackRock type stuff, where they're like, we're going to force behaviors. So they're like, we don't want heroes of virtue anymore, and they told you the qualities that I want. So what they did to publishing was the same thing they did in movies and TV shows, the message. And publishing all these female authors almost exclusively. And go look at the top in popular fiction. It's going to be a list of all women, and maybe there'll be one or two men peppered in there. And that's all trying to usher in this new age. And Stranger Things is saying, both the Duffer Brothers, I'm going to just guess, are they both gay? Are they like the Wachowskis? I know the Wachowskis are women, so that's whatever that is. But both of them. So are the Duffer Brothers, do they have like that, do they use a lot of sibilant S's? Do they sound like Truman Capote? What's their voices like? You tell me. So, and Stephen King's It, they got a lot of inspiration from It. What's It about? It's about a demon that preys upon children. This whole show is about 80s Spielbergian Amblin Entertainment, children in peril stuff. There's also a lot of shades of It. And what's It? It's like a giant spider demon that they have to kill, and the children have to team up against it. It's the same thing that's in Stranger Things. But also there's this idea, which are plans for the future, plans for globalization are basically a hive mind, I can call it that, because they want everybody to think the same and be the same, and nobody to fall out of line with it. So bringing a wrinkle in time in that world with the hive mind in it, where her dad is trapped or whatever, that's ruled by AI brain. It's popular themes, and it's nothing new. Asimov had the Battle for Gondahar, which they made into an animation. You can just watch it for free on YouTube. It's about blue people like an Avatar. And in the Battle for Gondahar, it's about a world that was ruled by an AI brain, and then that brain broke down, and then society broke down on that whole planet. And it's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi story that's also post-apocalyptic sci-fi French animation, but it's translated into English. And you just watch it for free on YouTube. And it's got blue avatar people. I said that already. So this is one of the warnings from Elon Musk. Like, we can't beat this AI, so we might as well join it. And he's just a bozo. He's like a figurehead for whatever they want. And who's they? The wealthy elite whose fortune shaped the fates of nations. And what do they want to shape the nations into? A hive mind. And anybody that resists that, they want to kill him. So there's my Stranger Things review, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, probably as soon as I hit the button, I'll remember 5 more things I wanted to say. But I'm going to wrap it up. So there you go. If you want more, I would say thorough research stuff on MK Ultra and Project Monarch and Project Artichoke, probably, and all that mind control stuff, and the Wizard of Oz stuff and the mind control stuff. I would say go to Jay Dyer and Jamie Hanshaw. They talk about those things. And they have all the books. They read them. So, and he's kind of dry about going through the details and why, and like, you know, so maybe you want to see Stranger Things video or whatever, go see what that guy says about it. And that's all. And, you know, be good, pray to God, ask God for help. Don't go using Ouija boards or witch boards or anything, or no tarot readings, no fortune telling. You're opening yourself to demons, and Stranger Things is about opening a portal to demonic. And when you watch movies and TV shows, the first thing you see in the credits usually is cast, and in everything you see all the actors that were in a movie, and then after that they say best boy, grip, third unit AD, computer effects. All the people after the word cast are the people casting the spell, because Edward Bernays knew a thing or two about how effective television would be when it was invented on programming people of how to think and what to shape them into. And we can see how we're being molded and shaped through social media. And we know that one thing that makes people stupider is doom scrolling and video games, because if you look at the brain scans of drugs and video games and watching too much online, it shuts your brain down and makes you dumber. And then you go back releasing drugs in your own mind of cortisol and dopamine. And we're being programmed when we watch these things. We're also having spells cast upon us. The movie is the spell. 5 seasons of Stranger Things is a spell. How do you break the spell? Well, you just keep in mind that you're watching a spell and that it has no hold over you. And you're like, oh, I see what this is. This is trying to predictive programming me into accepting the agendas that are inside the movies and TV shows. That's why it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. They just keep giving you the make it a chick, make her gay, make it lame. They keep giving you this over and over again because it's what BlackRock CEO Larry Fink referred to as forcing behaviors. It doesn't matter what you like or what you want. We're going to keep making the same shit movies and putting the same message in every single thing you see because we want to program you with it, because it's a program. And we'll keep breaking people down. It's a form of torture and mind control to keep people. They analyze all the data. They know what movies we want to make. They know what we would love to see and what they could give us that we would want to see. They're not doing that. They're not going to give you what you want to see ever, because like every now and then a movie like that will slip through. They don't want to give you what you want because it's programming. And Blackstone Vanguard handles over 12.5 trillion in assets multinationally. And what they at BlackRock believe in doing is forcing behaviors. So that's why you keep getting the message in all your movies, and Satanism and shit too, because they just want to wear you down till you just accept it, until you see a movie and you're like, well, it had all the messages in it, but it was they all that shit's in there, but I kind of liked it. That's all they want. And they want to program the youth because their minds are developing. That's how they're programming them. That's how they're MK Ultraing the youth, by giving them the same shit that you can't escape it, and getting rid of all the old movies and phasing all that stuff out, or going back and changing it. What's a big popular appeal thing? We're going to go back and alter it using AI stuff, making it so that you don't know what to believe, and telling you everything that you know is true or that you think might be true that's bad for you, to just say, oh, that's not true, don't believe that, and go back to sleep and stay in the matrix. You'll live in a pod, you'll eat the bugs, and you'll be high. And there's a lot of information in Stranger Things about the world we live in. Whether the Duffer Brothers realize they're doing that or not. If they're still the Duffer Brothers by the time you see this video, maybe they've crossed over. Maybe they're going to be the Duffer Sisters. I don't know. Time will tell. But yeah, I've talked about it enough. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell and click the thing for notifications for my free YouTube hobby, warning you that demons want you sent to hell. So don't you let them. And Stranger Things isn't cool. It's kind of corny. I know it's a lot of fun. I remember, that's why I watched like 3 seasons of it. I remember. I saw some of the new ones for the final season. And yeah, and also by openly telling you what they're influenced by, because they can't hide it because people will know, it's also encouraging people to go out and read this other propaganda and programming tools. Maybe you want to read Madeleine L'Engle. Maybe you want to look into MK Ultra. They want you to find out about these things. It's revelation of their methods. which is witchcraft and sorcery. And maybe you want to be witchy stuff. Maybe you want to talk to another dimension. Maybe you want to believe in multiverses so that your life here doesn't seem important because there's like infinite versions of you, so just waste your life. Maybe it's karma. Maybe you want to believe in Hindu voodoo nonsense. Maybe you want to drink blood. It's just to mess with you and mess you up. So it's just movies. You watch them. You're like, well, hold on, I don't want to take Stranger Things that seriously. I just thought it was cool, and all the 80s stuff and the synthwave was cool. Good, then leave it there. But I wanted to talk about all the stuff that's underneath the surface of Stranger Things. And I did. And why are there so many movies with portals? It's like there's so much of it. Like there's so much that I haven't even seen all the things that are about portals, but you know that they're there. All the major blockbuster stuff with Marvel and DC, they still do portal stuff. They're not stopping. That's all. Be good. Pray to God. Amen.